the dark, I play my dreams. Permaculture flows like sweet streams. I'm the daddy with the know-how seed. Greening the world like it's meant to be. Permaculture, P-I-M-P, I'm the king. Wrapping love in everything. Bringing change, making it last. Join the Permaculture.
Welcome to the Permaculture Pimpcast, where PIMP stands for Permaculture is my passion. The only pimpcast on planet Earth where we discuss permaculture, preparedness, practical living, and lately we've been talking too much about prostitutes.
Permaculture, P-I-M-P, with soulful grace. In the VIP scans where we find our place.
All right, good to be here with y'all. I think this is episode 403, and it is so good to be here with all of you. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. We just had a little bit of a technical snafu. No big deal. So glad everybody's here with us today. Remember, if you have any questions, make sure you put them in capital letters so we know to get to it. Well, this episode, as always, is brought to you by Hickory Ridge Soap from TwoOldCrowsHomestead.com. And don't forget about the Sovereign Health Summit. And hey, I'm going to let everybody in on a little secret here. One of the people I'm really excited to hear from is on with us today. So you're going to want to check her out and everything that she's doing because, there's so many awesome reasons why I look up to the work she's doing and the stands she makes and the things that she does. So I don't know how much of that we'll get into today, but hey, if you would, everybody hit that thumbs up. Tell everybody we're live so they can go ahead and start suppressing us, because the information we're likely going to talk about today is not something that the powers that shouldn't be want everybody to know about, which is precisely why X will not let me go live. YouTube, every single time I go live, I could get on there and go live and sing Mary Had a Little Lamb, and they immediately drop almost to the exact number, 50 people every single time. So we got to do it right here on Rumble. And of course, our largest platform, which is the audio platform. I know a lot of you farmers are out there doing your thing today and you listen to us while you're doing your thing. But folks, if you haven't noticed, a lot of the programs as of late have been talking about the health crisis that's going on that the mainstream prostitute media is never going to tell you about. And they're certainly not going to give you any solutions that don't involve big pharma. The cool thing about the way we're doing it right now is that my guest can say anything she wants and not even have to, we don't have to worry about being suppressed or kicked off of YouTube for another couple of weeks or permanently for that matter. So ordinarily I would go through my subscriber, or not the subscribers, but my sponsors and everything. You're just going to have to overlook it today, folks, because I want to get right into it with my guest here, the wonderful Miss Jacqueline Bourne. I'm sorry. How are you, Jacqueline?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. It's I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad they're not really messing with the signal, at least so far. But who knows? By the time you get down and say what it is you're doing and how you do it, they may just cut this feed altogether. So glad to have you here.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here on your Pimpcast.
It sounds funny when you say it, but yeah, you got to make an ugly word acronym. Permaculture is my passion. So yeah. So right off the bat, some people may know you, some may not, and everybody's going to know who you are. Well, I'm sure we're going to have subsequent interviews as well, but right off the bat, because you do a lot of awesome things, for the people that don't know who you are, why don't you give them take as much time as you need. You're a superhero to me and a lot of others out there. So every superhero has an origin story. So why don't you give us yours?
That's very sweet. Thank you. Well, I'm a mom. I have 4 boys. I have a husband. Been married 21 years this year. And we have 4 boys. Actually, 2 of them have just become adults. So I have 18-year-old twins now. It's so crazy. It's bittersweet when you see your kids growing up into adulthood. But it's a blessing when you can help them and guide them through that new adulting, so to speak. So yeah, and we homeschool. We have a store together as a family. We run a store. It's called OK Be Healthy. in Shawnee, Oklahoma. And we've actually started to do more and more online shipping now. So we've been selling our product worldwide and shipping worldwide. So that keeps us very busy. We really enjoy just helping our community. I just enjoy working with my family, being with my family. My family is very much a part of everything that I do. In fact, when I had this idea to open this health food store, it was during COVID, when everyone was shutting down. Idea came from the Lord, but was to open a health food store where we could help people during this. And I thought, I must be crazy, but it actually worked out. And so we opened during 2020, during the crazy time of the year, and we've just been helping our community ever since, just encouraging them, supporting them with their health, anything that they need. We love talking health. And so when I say we, I'm talking about me and my boys, and my husband's very much part of it. He's retired Lieutenant Colonel from the United States Air Force. He retired early because we weren't going to get certain mandates during 2020, if you catch my drift. And so
Mhm.
he now teaches. He's a civilian contractor on base, and he teaches what he used to do through the military. So we're a military family, and now we just have some roots down, and we get to enjoy teaching and serving the community with all the healthy things. But that's a little bit about me. I love talking anything health. I love encouraging people to find the best versions of themselves, and it may be versions they've never even met before because they've never applied just natural remedies, or even just lifestyle changes that are needed for health.
Yeah. Do you want to get into a little bit of your background? I mean, I guess we can kind of weave it into the question. I think that it should be on everybody's mind right now, but in you in particular, and it might be something of a rhetorical question, but at what moment did you realize that life was quietly, or even from where I'm standing, loudly making everybody sick? I mean, where was your eureka moment? Did you have one?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think having children changes you, right? Because you realize, oh, wait, I'm not just living for myself anymore. I'm living, I need to make sure I'm thriving for these little guys that are depending on me, and depending, as your kids get older. But having kids really changed my perspective and being a better example. I remember I used to eat so much garbage, junk food, fast food, sugar, you name it. I was chronically sick, lots of acne, huge tonsils, lots of other things. And I remember then having children, and I realized I don't want them to eat the things I was eating, because I realized the food that I was eating wasn't good for me. Right? There's no vegetables. It was lots of soda. It was lots of garbage. And I remember when my twins were about 2.5, they were talking then. I had my mom had come to visit me, and she had a bunch of candy. And we had gotten at the grocery store or whatever, and we were opening the candy, we were eating candy, and then my mom went to hand it to my young twins, my twin boys, Joel and Jonas. And they looked at her, and they looked at me, and they looked at the candy like it was like this horrible thing. And they just looked at her and said, no, no, mommy's only. And I cried. I thought, oh my gosh, what a hypocrite I have been, because here they are, they know mommy's eating it, but it's not good for them to eat it. And that was a turning point for me. It really struck my heart that if you are going to um, be representing something, or something good, right? And being a leader in a certain area, or expecting others to do something, then we need to be doing those same things. And I thought, okay, that was the moment where I thought, okay, I need to start breaking bad habits of junk food and sugar and soda, and you name it. I just wasn't eating very well. So that was the first wake up call to eating better, was my kids. And then my dad got cancer. My dad got a serious cancer, and I remember him calling me and telling me he wasn't going to eat any more sugar. And I thought, well, surely if it's organic, it's okay, Dad. And he was like, no, no. And I thought, huh. And so that got me into really interested in reading about sugar and the dangers of refined sugar. And even if it's organic refined sugar, I thought this is a whole new thing, because just because it says organic doesn't make it good for us. which I kind of thought, oh, it says organic. We can eat anything we want to. We can, but no, you have to really you look into the ingredients of everything. But I thought, okay, that's interesting. So I told my dad, I said, because I was addicted to sugar. Sugar is a drug. I started reading great books. There's great books. John Yudkin has a book called Pure White and Deadly. A wonderful book, especially if you have more of a scientific mind, you like studies and you like, just a lot of resources and references. And then there's the book by William Duffy, Sugar Blues. And Sugar Blues is a really easy book to follow, very good. And it's just opened my eyes to the dangers of refined sugar. And I thought, okay, Dad, to support you, me and the family, we're going to take refined sugar out of the diet once a day. Because I was like, oh my gosh, for the lifetime, this is going to be so hard. And we did it once a day and we got the hang of it. And then we did 2 times a week and 3 times a week until eventually we did a week. And then we went a whole year without refined sugar. And wow, what we discovered in the process was just eye opening. Not only supporting my dad, which he's healed completely, he went the natural route, and completely conquered that cancer through lifestyle changes, herbs, juicing, fasting, you name it, a little bit of everything. A lot of going to God, forgiving and getting forgiven and things like that. There's so many avenues to healing, but um, he's completely healed. And I just thought, what a wonderful way to support him, but also it really started something big in me, in my life.
Now, on that note, I mean, in your life, was there what I've noticed, at least with a lot of the healers that are in this space, it seems that there was maybe a personal health crisis that made them have the biggest eureka moment. Now, you said your dad, did you personally, or did you go through any of these that made you change how you see wellness in a personal way?
Yeah, for sure. Just watching that, I've had many family members that passed away, breast cancer. They didn't go the healthy route. They decided to do all the other things, and which is everyone's choice. But I just saw so many people dying, friends, family, and so I was just thankful that my dad was able to conquer that. But I think the catalyst to really pursuing my health 100% was when I had breast implant illness, and that was something that really shocked me, because I had gotten breast implants, and I started getting sick. I was so sick, and I went to everyone. I went to every specialist you can imagine, a doctor, and I always asked them at the end of every talk and spiel. I said to them, "Do you think it could be my breast implants?" And they all said no.
Wow.
Even the plastic surgeon, when I presented her all my horrible symptoms, she said to me, "I think it's all in your head." She said, "It's all in your head." She didn't say "I think." She said, "It's all in your head." And I was crying. And that moment on, I just knew, I was like, you know what? I know that my breast implants are making me sick. The more you study the chemicals that are in breast implants, the mold possibilities that can build up in breast implants, and all the repercussions, the diagnoses that can come with that are false, that aren't real. I was told I have allergies. I was told I have possibly Hashimoto's, lupus, arthritis, you name it. They presented me with so many hypotheses and so many ideas of what it could be. I'm allergic to Oklahoma. That was the funniest one, in my opinion. I have to take steroids for the rest of my life because I'm allergic
Oh,
to
there's a
Oklahoma.
hilarious joke in there. I grew up in Oklahoma. So,
Did you?
oh yeah. So
Well, you might be allergic to Oklahoma, huh?
oh, I'm definitely allergic to Oklahoma. Ask my wife. She is too.
Oh
But I'm
man.
sorry, I didn't
So
mean to take you off your point, but
no, you're
good night.
fine. It really threw me for a loop. I was very sick. I got very, very sick. I went from a full functioning mom of four, homeschooling, running around, to within about 4 years, I felt like I was um, just falling apart. I had chronic hives. I had blotchy skin. My hair was falling out. I was chronically cold. My bones hurt. I had no energy. I had panic attacks, anxiety, depression. I wasn't completely suicidal. Like I never was suicidal, But upon further reading, suicide is one of the most common, it's very high in women who have breast implants, suicide.
Wow.
So because of the chemicals and some of the things that are in breast implants. There's been platinum in implants before, and we know what heavy metals can do, especially to the brain. So it really, that was the catalyst. I got those out, and I immediately felt better. We're talking
Wow.
immediately felt better. It's been a slow and steady detoxing. With my detoxing, but your body can heal, and that's really what just wow, it's so amazing. No matter how much we may, God winks at our ignorances. So even though I wasn't completely ignorant, right? Like I was going to go and put something foreign in my body. And honestly, the body does not like foreign bodies. The body loves the body that it just is originally in, the original design. The body also loves original food, right? There's the food man manipulates, the genetically modified foods. You know all about this, the chemicals that do not work with God's design for our body. And breast implants is one of them. It does not work with the design of the body, the natural human body. And so when I got those out, I just realized, okay, I need to start detoxing. I didn't mention to you, I even had pieces of like fishing line string kind of texture coming out of my cheek. I had, and it'd be about every few months. It'd feel like a acne, and then I'd give it a
Like
little bit, and
Morgellons?
then I
Like,
could pull it. I could pull it out with a tweezer. It was a little tiny fragmented piece of almost like fishing line.
yeah, isn't that Morgellons? What they talk about Morgellons disease, and they say they
Yeah.
have no idea where it even comes from.
Yeah, well, I have a wonderful idea that it might be coming from plastics in the body and
Mhm.
chemicals. Um, and then I had like silly putty coming out of my chest. And so I would do magnesium soaks. So this is something women can do if they are trying to detox, and that's just take a nice hot bath of magnesium salts, Epsom salts, and soak a long while, like about 30 minutes. Let the hot water get on the chest, and then you just start massaging. And what I found is that pea-size amounts of this silly putty-like texture were coming out of my chest. This was with
Wow.
implants. And then this was after removal, but I've never discovered that prior to. It was only during and after. And now I still detox. Your body's what's great about our body, God gave us a liver. Our body's constantly detoxing. So I'm just supporting my body constantly with great nutrients and minerals and Epsom salt soaks and things like that. But upon further reading, some of the um, earlier implants were made from a manufacturing company of silly putty. And so, there's no telling what could be in someone's breast implant, the number of chemicals that can be in them. Chemicals, heavy metals, and I also had a lot of mold in them. So the other thing that was causing me a lot of problems, the rashes, I couldn't hardly eat anything. I was very skinny. I'd brush my teeth and break out into hives. Water was irritating me. Everything. It's, because I was diagnosed also with autoimmune disorders galore. And it got really, it just got really rough. I don't know. I can really level up with people who are sick, like really, really sick, and they just have no other idea what to do. Like they're just at their last leg. Because I was there. I was so there. I was on the couch and I just was done. I just thought, you know what? I'm done. If I don't wake up tomorrow, then I'm okay with that because I just did not feel well. And so getting those breast implants out. Uh, One was amazing for my mental health. That all went away. And then you realize, wow, it's not a godly design. These implants are not healthy. And that really just pushed me forward to, okay, how can I help other people that are in that area? It might not be breast implants. It might be, they may be doing other things to their body, chronic, drinking like too much soda, right? Or drinking too much alcohol, or eating too much refined sugar. I mean, we can abuse our bodies in many ways. And you start to really realize that, wow, when we really take care of our bodies the way God designed, with the food He has in mind, with and getting adequate balance of things like sunshine and sleep. Sleep is so important. You start to see your body thriving. and I was addicted to it. And so now when people come in and they're not feeling well, I immediately see like who God made them to be. It's just something neat that God does. He just shows me like how they're supposed to be when they start eating well and taking care of themselves. And it's really cool. It's a cool design. Our bodies are divinely designed to heal.
Good night. You got so much in there, and my head's about to explode right now because, I mean, you're making me think about a number of other things. For example, so when it comes to the implants, because it's not these days, it's not just breast implants people are getting. I mean, you could have knocked me over with a feather when I found out guys are getting calf implants. Maybe they have skinny legs or whatever, and the calves, they don't grow, and they want calf implants. Or people get butt implants. I didn't know that was a thing. And there's implants, cheek implants. They got them for everything else. So I want to know, because I'm not sure a whole lot of those people necessarily live here, but this is actually the follow-up question is one of what I really get to. Do you think it was the whatever's inside those implants that was leaking, or was it the plastic itself, do you think was the problem?
I mean, I'm sure it was a little bit of everything, the plastic, the chemicals, what was leaking. And the thing is, they tell you, oh, it's perfectly safe because your body puts a scar tissue capsule around. It's not perfectly safe. And the body actually it's like you're giving your body an IV drip of chemicals every day, 24/7. The body is constantly trying to fight for you and to get this out of your body. And it's inevitable because it's like a slow drip every day of this chemical. Um, I didn't mention either that it's dangerous because those some implants can start to concave into the rib and impede into the heart in areas that it doesn't need to be going.
Oh my.
And it was morphine my ribs. I remember having them for about a month or two, and I remember my ribs really hurting, and I thought, this is weird. And I went to touch my rib and it just felt squishy. I can't even explain it. I told the doctor and he thought it was like, he was like, what? I was like, my rib is squishy. It's like moving in ways I've never seen before. And they did x-rays and nothing was wrong. But I'm telling you, in the 4 years that I had them, it morphed my rib cage. The weight of them had changed my one side of my rib cage. And later, after I had my implants out, I asked the surgeon about that. I said, hey, I know this sounds crazy, and she already thinks everything's in my head, but I said, can implants morph your ribs? And she said, absolutely, yes. And I said, I'm thinking, you said that so easily. Like, why aren't we telling this? Why aren't we saying this to people earlier? I never saw this in any prior papers you need to look over or sign. Of course, it's always at your own risk, this and that, but it wasn't like, oh, it's a possibility that, your ribs could morph into a different shape. Y- you know, it's atrocious, the things that I've read that breast implants have done to women. One, women who just are suicidal. That's women are losing their lives um, with the amount of mental illness it's causing.
The I tell you what, my wife, if she's listening to this conversation right now, she's probably having the same eureka moment I am, because we've had some issues around here that we can't necessarily explain. And then I got to digging around to it and hearing you talk about this at exactly the same time where we've been doing a little bit of testing and experimentation around here, especially when it comes to our water. And
Mm,
I've done a deep dive into CPVC piping, that part of this house, the people that built the place we live in, every line, it's not copper anymore in most places. It's all CPVC. So if you were having toxicity from plastic that is supposedly designed for the human body, what on earth is some of this plastic piping that we have in our homes? So now it's gotten to the point where I'm literally distilling the water and then restructuring it before we drink it and before our animals
wow.
drink it, just to find
Wow.
out, what exactly is going on. Because where we live right now, I don't know if it's the junk they're dropping from the sky. It seems like
Right.
every single day. I don't know if it's that. Is it a mold issue? Okay, we're working on that one too.
Yeah.
Or is it, but the very same symptoms you described just now are the very same ones I was going through. And if anybody lives a cleaner
Mm,
lifestyle than we do, I don't
right.
know who that is, because we grow our own food. If we don't
Right.
grow it, we get it locally. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it's strange how, well, it's not strange. I mean, maybe that's how the Lord sets it up, but you're bringing
Yeah.
up something regarding, I'm hearing you list off the symptoms you're going through, and I'm like, hold on, both of us have gone through this stuff. And
Oh,
by the way,
yeah.
folks, little
Wow.
side note, yesterday is 31 years for me and Michelle. So rah, that's 31
Oh,
years.
congratulations.
Yeah, on the 20th.
Wow.
How about that? I'm
Wow.
sorry, I didn't mean to go sideways, but got to tell the whole world about that, especially when most marriages kind of fall apart within a year or two.
Yes,
So,
you do. Yes, you
uh,
do.
so honestly,
Major points with the
one of my
wifey.
greatest achievements out there. But no, you bring up something that's, I think, is something that I don't think is addressed enough. Most people are drinking out of plastic bottles. I'm drinking out of glass of water that I had to restructure just to find out, what is going on here? Then I go and look on Dr. Jack Cruz's his forum, and sure enough, some of the issues that we're going through are the very same symptoms you're describing. And it all comes from people that are using CPVC piping or a lot of this other plastic tubing out there. It's not copper, it's not
Mm.
legit. So if it affected you that much in your body, when you're somebody like me that drinks about 1.5 gallons of water every single day, and maybe it's toxic because of the plastic that it's running through, it should be asking all of us, it should have all of us asking some pretty critical questions. Um, Good night.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jacqueline, you don't know you don't know the firestorm you just created in my mind just bringing that up, because it's almost like quiet confirmation
Yeah.
that what I thought might have been going on
Oh,
is going on, especially with the old
oh,
PVC piping that we know is in this place. So
man. Yeah,
I
it's
guess there's,
dangerous stuff.
yeah, I guess there's not much of a question in there. I just had to share with you my eureka moment. So,
No, it's good stuff. And
well, I want to ask you, kind of switching gears a little bit here. It seems
sure.
to me, and I know that you've been in this health space for quite a while. You've worked hand in hand with Barbara O'Neill, traveled with her, done all these wonderful
Yeah.
things, and you've learned a
Yeah.
whole lot. But in my experience, it seems like the people that are in the worst shape these days seem to be the ones that are least likely to, they're not like your dad, where they say, okay, man, I got a pretty bad health crisis here. I'm going to change
Yeah.
everything. And getting rid of sugar for a lot of people,
Yeah.
that's a big deal, especially when I have to go to the grocery store, every single cart has soda in it. I mean, that's like the
Right.
number one thing, a bunch of refined food and things we just don't eat here. But
Right.
I just wonder, why are so many reasonably intelligent people, why do they seem to struggle with health? It seems more than anybody else these days. Or do you have an opinion on that sort of thing?
Well, I see it every day. I'll see someone come in and they've got these horrible ailments. I mean, they're forced with possibly losing their leg or an appendage or, because of their food choices. And they even say to me, I anything but that, anything but my donuts, anything but my coffee, anything but, and you're
Right.
thinking, what about your life? Your life is more important than anything. Um, it's that saying, to convince a man against his will, he'll be of the same opinion still. You can't convince people. You can lovingly explain to them better choices, but it's very difficult. We lost someone in our family because they refused to make good choices, and they chose, dying young, dying early because of their lifestyles and their diet, and that's their choice. Um, and we have, it's hard because you want to like do it for them because it works. You're like, listen, it
Right.
works. I know it does. And you can't. Why do I think so? I think because it's just easy. People don't like to do things that are hard. People don't like discipline. They don't like change. They want an easy fix too. We live in a society that's like quick, quick, give me this quick. I want this fast. So many people come into the store. They want a quick weight loss pill. They want
Right.
a quick way to grow their hair. They don't want to put in the work that it takes to get there. I think it has a lot to do with society, how, we are society these days. Our attention span is like less than a goldfish now. Um,
Literally.
people don't read anymore. There's a lot of things involved. The biggest thing is that there's an enemy out there. There's the enemy that doesn't want us to thrive, doesn't want us to be better, doesn't want us to feel good, doesn't want to be the best versions of ourselves. When you feel great, you accomplish great things. And so if you can keep people and by the enemy, I mean the adversary, if he can keep people on medications and on the couch and depressed and not their best selves, then he doesn't. They're not a threat to him, and it's important for us to be our best, to treat our body like the temple of God, the dwelling place, to eat well, to support that, because then you start to feel that way, and you start to, emulate that, but also just express that in your everyday life. You feel good. If you eat good, you feel good. But it's really difficult for people. It's that poem, Choose Your Hard, though. Divorce is hard, marriage is hard, choose your hard. I'm not sure who wrote that poem, but you can apply that to anything. Getting up at 4 a.m., going to the gym is hard. Being overweight is hard. I mean, it's difficult, whatever you choose.
Hmm.
So it's like, you know what? At least choose the thing that's going to give you the most health and the most vitality, and in the end, the most benefits. It's hard now, but then your life will be easy. I'd love to be in my 70s and 80s, still able to, play with my grandkids and go hiking and, read a book and make supper. I don't want to be in a nursing home in my mid 60s or 70s, or even dying in my 70s. I don't want that. Now, God knows, and I love quality over quantity any day, but um, there's a great enemy out there, and he doesn't want you to thrive. And I think really that's the bottom line. I think that's the very bottom of the barrel, as to why.
It's for me, I guess it's just the stubborn nature that I have. One of the biggest impetus in so many ways, and this might sound just absolutely wacky to so many people, is knowing full well that the powers that shouldn't be, all controlled by this enemy, we know who that
Yeah,
is. Um,
yeah,
it's they're like they're holding the marionette strings, and so many of us dance to it unwittingly, or maybe
yeah,
even in so many ways,
yeah,
especially in the higher echelons, like in Ephesians. We're dealing with this stuff in every single realm in our daily lives, and I think really, based on what I'm seeing today in the world, it seems definitely at the highest echelons. It's because of what I know they're doing to me that makes me want to
yeah.
fight back even harder, not only for myself, but I don't want to put my grandbaby, my 2-year-old grandbaby,
Hmm.
in a toxic environment. I don't want my wife in a
Yeah.
toxic environment. So on that note,
Mhm.
um, people are giving a lot of nonsense today, but I just want to hear your opinion on this. So how much do you think of today's chronic illness is a function of, let's say, environmental versus lifestyle issues?
So, are you saying like genetic too, or no? Just
Right.
how
Yeah.
much do
Throw
you
that in
think?
there. Right. So genetics, like Gary Brecka always says, genetics
Yeah,
loads the gun, but your lifestyles pull the trigger. But I'm just curious
yeah.
what your opinion is on this.
Well, I think. So ask me the question again. I just want to make sure I'm getting it right from you
I'm
before I
wondering,
answer.
as far as the chronic illness that we have that seems to be exploding right now, do you think it's a function of
Yeah.
environmental or is it lifestyle issues?
Oh, I think it's both. I think they go hand in hand. I think, for sure, though, I think number one is your choice. What you're putting in your mouth matters most. What you're putting on your body, what you're putting in your body. I really truly believe that when we do the possible, God steps in and does the impossible. Meaning, if they're dropping stuff from the air, I mean, that's when we pray, right? That's when we say, okay, there's nothing that I can do right now. Um, you name it. There's not anything I could do right now except pray for God's protection. But I definitely think that people's choices, what they eat, what they drink, what they do they exercise? Do they stay home? Do they? It has a lot to do with their health. Um, and of course, environment has a lot to play with it too, right? Like what they're putting in our water, what they're putting in our skies, what they're putting in our food that we might think it's organic, right? You go to a farmer's market and you have to ask questions. You're like, why does this tomato look perfect? Like, what are you spraying on this? It's a whole lot of things. But I think there's a reason why it shows, miracles in the Bible where, Elisha is healing food, and, God's bringing Elijah food from ravens. And I mean, I think there's a reason why, because there will be a time, I'm not going to say there might be, there will be a time where we need to pray for our food and expect miracles. Because it's pretty toxic out there. And you know so much more about the whole farming, and it's really interesting to hear you talk, and your lectures, that I've heard you talk, and you know a lot about your stuff. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of what I think
it's
about it.
yeah, that's one of the biggest things out there is you know, it's almost disheartening some days when I know that we have a better than, or I know what the organic standards are. We exceed that by many, many magnitudes here from everything we grow, whether it's our animals, whether it's the
Mm,
plants in the high tunnel. Every single day, I can go out there and pick a salad from my high tunnel, even in the dead of winter right now. I know
yeah,
our standards are light years better than anything they have in the store, but at the end of the day, I'm
yeah,
sitting here and I'll be honest with you, Jacqueline. This is I've talked about it before on this podcast. One of my spiritual hacks to make sure that I said I drink a gallon and a half of water every single day. Well, it's been my I don't say this to sound pious, but I'm saying it because knowing the world we live in, it's kind of hard to be a chronic sinner in the worst kind of way when your prayer life is good. So every time I take a drink of water, I get on my knees, literally on the farm. If I'm at home, I get on my
mm,
knees and I literally pray every single time. So it keeps me very well, no matter what's going on. I'm not drinking it all at once. So
right.
periodically throughout the day, every time I drink water, I'm like, okay, it's my wife. She doesn't even ask anymore. She knows when I'm on my knees, you know what the deal is. Every
That's
single time I
great.
do it. So, and you have to, I think, because what good is it growing all this wonderful food out here if they're poisoning it every single day from the sky and nobody seems to care about it?
Yeah, I
So, I
know.
mean, I guess I'm going to quit being selfish here with the questions, and I'm going to ask you some things. I know um, you're uniquely positioned to offer some advice. Remember, we don't cure anybody here, y'all. Wink, wink, nod, nod. But there are ways to get yourself squared away out there. Um, Let me change the topic because I could really get on my soapbox here. I really don't want to do that. Yeah, I'll save that for another monologue when I lose my mind on this show some other time. Let's just say there's a whole lot of people out there right now. I see, and you're in Oklahoma, and I'm well aware of Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas. I grew up in those places, and there's a lot of people in a bad way. Every time I'm invited to speak at a
Mm,
conference or whatever, most of the attendees are in really bad shape. Folks, I'm not being
yeah,
critical of you.
no,
I weigh 170 pounds right now. There was a time I was 245. So I, like Jacqueline, I can also relate in knowing that when I was out there doing my work, doing my stuff as a electrician on the road, I'm eating the worst food in the world in the worst position. Circadian health is off. Everything is off. So with that said, so many people I think are overwhelmed. In fact, I know that they are because I speak to them and they ask me, what we do, um and they just don't know where to start. So what's the first change? Let's say a person has some, I don't know, let's just say they're in a bad shape in terms of their weight or whatever
yeah.
whatever the health crisis might be. What's the first thing that they should change in their lives, just as a ballpark kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, I always go with the most affordable, like, because I'm not huge on like, here's 100 supplements, start taking them. I'm not that way. In fact, most people who come in, I'm like, okay, this week I want you to work on drinking water and come back. And that's really where you should start. I would start with how much sleep are you getting and how much water are you drinking? Because it's really important to be drinking water. Some people don't drink water. I met a woman and her
Right.
water consisted of whatever's in her coffee, whatever's in her teas, whatever is in her soda. She just kind of figures there's water in those and that's enough. But that's not. Dr. Batman Gahaldish has a book, You're Not Sick, You're Thirsty.
Hmm.
Fantastic book for anyone who has not read it, and talking about water, and the importance of it. but and how you should always, before any diagnosis is given to you, always compare it to how much water have I been drinking. He suggests a lot of times it's just dehydration. It's not even a diagnosis or a disease. It's just dehydration. And so the first thing I tell people when they come into our store is, I say, how much water are you drinking? And it's usually not any, or a couple glasses, or I need to drink, I need to do better. That's usually what I hear. That and getting mineral salt, making sure you get that really good mineral salt before your water, because it helps your body actually absorb the water. Also, are you drinking your water right? We're not talking guzzle. You don't want to like drown yourself, right? You don't want to like flood the topsoil. You want a slow trickle. You want like an IV, kind of like a drip, drip, drip throughout the day. So you're slowly hydrating your system. I know some firefighters who did an experiment and they guzzled water and then they compared their hydration level to a day where they sipped water all day long. And the day they sipped water all day long, they were more hydrated than the day that they had just guzzled their 64 ounces. So don't just chug it. Sip it all day long. And it's good to get at least 8 glasses of water in. And that's where I always start with your hydration, start with your Celtic salt, and also start with your grocery list. So if you have goals, write your goals down and then support those goals with actions that you can take that are going to support them. So for example, you want to lose 5 pounds this week, or in let's say the month, right? That's doable in a healthy, natural way. Then that would be, okay, that's my goal. So what am I going to do to achieve that goal? What is the actions that I need to take, the discipline and the consistency that I need to apply in my life to get that goal? And that's probably write down healthy ingredients for your grocery list. So scratch off chocolate bars and put the celery sticks and almond butter. So it's little things like this that are going to make a big difference in your day. But you have to start acting like you have it now. That's a big one. Like, if you see yourself somewhere, if you see yourself skinnier, if you see yourself healthy, then start acting like it now. Act like you're already that person. Act like you're the person that goes to the gym every day. How do you do that? By going to the gym every day, starting today. It's just little tiny changes like this. Don't bombard yourself. Don't give yourself these crazy unachievable goals right away. Start small, start simple. What is it? Who is that poet that says, to be great is to be small, or to live small? I just read that quote the other day. It was really good, and I thought this is good stuff. Even when Samuel was talking to Saul, and Saul did King Saul, and he was turning from God, and Samuel said, Saul, when you were little in your own eyes, you were great. And so it's important that we start small. Always keep it small, keep it little, keep it small, keep your goals small, and you'll find it has large impact. But go for small. Like, some people just go too much. It's just too much. It's overwhelming, and they say forget the whole thing. So water, and then look into sleeping. Getting good sleep is important. Little actions like that I found are very, very helpful.
Let me ask you about the salt thing. Now I get salt from Dr. Will Spencer, who gets it in. One of the problems that we run into with the salt, according to him, is that when it crosses the border, they're going to irradiate it, and the salt carries some of that signature with it.
Yeah.
But we got ways around it. And so if a person is using, let's say it's Celtic, or whether it's Baja Gold, or whether it's the stuff I use from Guatemala, how much should they take, and should they put it in the water? Should they take it separate? I'll hook you up. I'll get you squared away.
I want to try this salt.
This salt is so good. Don't worry, Jacqueline. I'll send you some. This salt is so good. Okay. It'll blow your mind. I'm dead serious. It is really that good. I can't get enough of it. But what if you're telling somebody, when I had high blood pressure and all that stuff, they tell you stay away from salt. Well,
yeah,
I did the polar opposite, the exact opposite. And guess what? Me and my business partner and friend T, it went away for both of us, doing the polar opposite of what the mainstream medical model says to do. When you go in for an IV, folks, what do you think's in that bag? It's salt. And so I want to ask you, how should someone actually take that? And I know you can't give specific medical advice, but let's say, do they put it in the water? Do they take it separately? And how much should they take?
Yeah, so if you're new to it, right? You want to start small. Maybe you haven't eaten salt in years, right? So start small. If you're getting crystals, you can do you can do one crystal every glass of water, which is very small. Mineral salt can have anywhere up to 82 minerals in it, depending on the content where it's coming from. In nature, there's 92 minerals. That's why if ever I'm at a beautiful beach and there's not a lot of people, it's not overpopularized, it's not over polluted. You can tell when there's a very clean beach. I'll swim out there and I'll actually drink a sip of ocean water. Yeah, it's very salty, but I mean, you're getting all 92 minerals in that. Some people are like, oh, oceans are dirty, yada, yada, but I've really enjoyed doing that. But there's also, I met an old retired Navy SEAL, and he told me that was part of their training way in the day. They would all have to drink a sip of ocean water every day to help them if they ever got stranded. And so I thought that was kind of a fascinating point that he said. But ideally, you start with one if you're new, and you can work your way up to like 6 crystals or a pinch. Or if you have your own little jar, you can lick your finger and put it in your jar, and whatever on your fingertip is good. I did that with the kids when they're little. They just put their finger in the jar and they'd lick their finger. But it's been shown to really help with high blood pressure, with swelling. If anybody has a lot of swelling, you hear that a lot of the swelling of the legs or even inflammation. But yeah, high blood pressure. The problem with table salt is just sodium chloride. It's just two minerals. So you're missing all the other 80, right? And so it's not the full package. It's not the way God made it in nature. And then what happens is it's forcing the water into the cell, which is causing high blood pressure. It's just not good. It's not normal. And so when you get the full gift, the full package of those beautiful 82 minerals, especially all the magnesiums, some salts have more magnesium than others. But magnesium is a water-hungry molecule. It also helps pull water into the cell. So it helps absorb. It helps you absorb the water. I always think of it like if you're going on vacation, you're going to the airport and you packed your carry-on. You pack your clothes that you're taking in your carry-on, right? You don't carry your clothes and your luggage. Well, that's kind of like what the action of Celtic with that mineral salt, whether it's Celtic or Baja or the one you have, or Redmond's. There's another one I heard of, Celt. It's not Celtic, but it's Celt salt. But lots of wonderful salts out there. But what it does is it's like that. It's that action. It's basically consolidating. It's bringing those clothes and putting it into the luggage. It's bringing the water and it's putting it into the cell. It's kind of cool. So it's very good for people who are trying to get that inflammation down, swelling down through water retention, high blood pressure. It's been very helpful. Now, if you have any kind of kidney disease, start very small. You have to start very, very small with salts. But yeah, it's good stuff. I like it. It gives you energy. It gives you all the minerals you need because we're constantly using minerals, whether through our sweat, through our tears, through our bodily fluids. So it's important to get that salt every day for lots of health reasons.
What are your thoughts on?
But that sodium chloride, also that table salt usually comes with add-ins, right?
Mhm.
Carcinogens like yellow persuasive soda, which is a carcinogenic, those anti-caking agents that keep the salt from being sticky and wet. And guess what? You want your salt to be sticky and wet. That's when it's got that mineral content, especially the magnesium, because the magnesium is a water-seeking molecule. That's why your salt is wet and you want it to be wet.
Well, you're going to dig this stuff I'm going to send you because it was so awesome. The last time I saw Dr. Will, I said, hey, man, what does it take to get like a 5-gallon bucket of this stuff? My son couldn't get enough of it. My wife couldn't get enough of it. So I'll send it your way and you tell me what you think about it. But and then he gets it in without, it arrives here in the United States of amnesia without being irradiated. So no other salt can say that. So yeah, that's a conversation we'll have to have offline. But if anybody's interested, go to his website and you can find out how you can get some of that. So while we're on the topics, okay, so we slayed one sacred cow here. Let's maybe talk about another one. I was picking up. I had to go and pick up something at one of the local places in town, and the lady in there, she was in pretty bad shape, and when I go into an environment, if I think about it, I always have my blue light blockers just in case. I mean, if I'm in a crazy environment, I just never know where I'm going to be. So I go in there and the lady who was in really, really awful shape that was waiting on me when I was getting the material I needed, I just kind of looked outside. They were spraying heavily, and I said, "Good night, man." I said, "Do you think we can get a day when it's not going to be like this?" And she says, "What do you mean?" I said, "You know, they're spraying this stuff out of the back of the planes." And she says, "Oh, I actually like it." And I whipped my head around like, "What? What?" I said, "Do you know what's in that stuff? It's, I mean, barium, aluminum, strontium." So she says a comment like that, you're going to get a monologue. So I'm telling her what's in this stuff. And she says, "No, I really
Yeah.
don't care. I'm light sensitive." I'm like, "Well, what do you mean light sensitive?" I realized right then and there was some of the questioning that, I was to a certain extent casting some species of pearls before swine. And I'm not calling her a swine. I'm just saying she just
No,
wasn't hearing anything I said.
she's just like, no, I like it's pretty.
Yeah, she says, "Well, I'm light sensitive." I'm like, "What do you mean by light sensitive?" "Oh, I can't
Huh.
have much sunlight." So let me ask you that. I mean, since we already slayed, I don't know your position on this, so I'm going to ask
So
you.
is it because she likes it, it's making it hazy? Is that what she's saying? She doesn't like the sun?
I didn't spend too much time getting into it, but she's not
Okay.
the only one. She's not the only one I've come across that's had the same sort of opinion, like, "Oh, I'm light sensitive," meaning that I can't
Yeah,
get sunlight.
right.
So what's your position on people that say they actively avoid the sun or they put on sunblock to go out in the sun? What's your
Yeah.
position on those things?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we need the sun. The sun is a doctor in the sky. The sun is, I mean, just look at a plant without sunshine, right? It will not be there for long. We need light. Everything requires light. In the beginning, God created heavens and the earth, right? And one of those wonderful things he made was light. We need light, vitamin D.
I like that.
But
I
no,
like
the
that.
sun helps us. Yeah, I like it. It's a new word. We need that vitamin D. We need that sunshine vitamin. It helps us. Our skin converts. We have cholesterol under the skin, which is another topic. A topic I got deleted off of TikTok. I had about 5 million followers, and TikTok does not like talking about cholesterol and how you can lower it naturally, and how I don't know if I can say some of these things,
No,
but
you say it
um,
all right here. Don't
anyways,
hold
but
anything back.
we can say it all here.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Statins are killing people. Statins are horrible. Feels so freeing to say that out loud.
Isn't that
I met a
awesome?
man a little bit off tangent. I'll get back. And he came in and they had him at a cholesterol level of 110. He can't even move. He came into my store. He has so much muscle wasting. His wife said he looks like a snake from his upper body and down. His body is contorting and different, because of these statins. And I said, I can't tell you what to do, but I will tell you about some really good books that you should look into. Lipitor, Thief of Memory by Dr. Dwayne Graveline. Um, there's so many great books out there that talk about the misconception of high cholesterol and the tragedies of statin drugs and people being using those. But the body needs cholesterol. There's cholesterol under the skin, which converts the sunshine, and that's where I was going with this, into vitamin D. We need it. We have to have it. When we start taking statin drugs, it blocks our absorption of vitamin D. It blocks cholesterol is used to make our sex hormones, our thinking hormones. Statin drugs block the CoQ10 pathway to the brain, so a lot of times people will start developing amnesia. Well, not. It's called transglobal amnesia, according to Dr. Graveline in his book about being on Lipitor, thief of memory. He called it the thief of memory because he was finding that himself and other people being on Lipitor for so long started causing amnesia, dementia, Alzheimer's. They're getting diagnosed with these things. They were not thinking clearly all of a sudden. And then getting off it, guess what happened right away? Their memory returned, right, getting off them just like that. So yes, we need sunshine. In fact, a woman just came in. She has this ulcer on her leg. uh, she can't get it to heal. She's had it for about 10 years, and they do not want her to let it, the wound care will not let her expose it to sunshine or air. And I told her, I was like, that is the wrong information if you're asking me. Like, I can't tell you what to do, but once again, that wound needs sunshine. That is a healing property for people. So get in the sun. Don't burn yourself. Too much of anything is not good for us. Moderation, all things, but sunshine, 15 minutes a day in the early morning or in the evening. If you're new to it, 5 minutes. If you have very, very sensitive skin, 5 minutes. Don't use sunscreen. Sunscreen is toxic to our health. If you must have something, there is a healthy brand. It's called Waxhead. And it's very simple ingredients. I even think they add cocoa powder into their tinted one. Very natural ingredients. But really, it's just you can actually give your body a natural protection against the sun by just getting a little bit every day. But yeah, no, I don't use sunscreen. My kids don't use sunscreen. I don't recommend it. I just recommend getting into the sun and in moderation. Don't burn yourself. Get into the shade. There's also shade. God made sun and He made shade.
Well, Dr. Alexis Cowan was talking about that very thing and used almost word for word what you just said there in terms of, hey, what does a lion do in the Serengeti? Okay, they lay out in the sun, and then you can even see it with
Yeah.
our animals on the farm, even our dogs.
Yeah.
They lay in the
Yeah.
sun until they get, I think they're a little more, probably a lot more in tune with their bodies than we are. And the simple fix is when they get enough, they go to the shade. I mean, that's exactly what a lion
Hmm.
does in the Serengeti.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why
You're
are
right.
we not, they don't put on, toxic, and oh my goodness,
No.
Alexis Cowan lost it when she was talking about, um, the what's in this sunscreen and how, people wearing shades out there in the sun is she said she really believes that it will, mainstream science won't ever come out with this, but she's saying the number one cause of skin cancers and the number of other cancers are people that are wearing polarized lenses on their face in the open sun, especially in places in high latitude.
Mm.
And because your body
Wow.
is getting uh, a disproportion. Oh, for example, the sunlight signal that is getting on your skin, the melanopsin on your skin, is different from what's coming in your eyes because you're screwing it up with the shades.
Right.
And now your body's
Yeah.
like in total chaos. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
What's going on
Yeah.
here?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
she said,
I think that is highly possible for sure. I mean, because it interferes with your circadian rhythm when you're wearing those
absolutely.
as well. Because your body's like, is it bedtime or are we making melatonin here? Or are we trying to? And so it's completely, yeah. I mean, shades if you have to, if you have very baby blue eyes and you're driving directly in the sun, for a little while, got it. But yeah, they're very dangerous. These polarized sunglasses.
It's
They're
like,
not good for us.
Jacqueline, am I crazy for thinking that? I mean, good night. I've been called a conspiracy nut before, even though I bring the receipts. But is it just me, or you can be completely honest here, or tell me I'm nuts. Is it just me, or does it seem like every single thing they put in our environment, everything that didn't come from God, is meant to try to kill us,
Kill
or
us? Yeah,
what are your thoughts on this? It seems like everything they have out there is meant to shorten our lives.
I agree. It is. It is. It really is. Or drain your pocketbook in the meantime while you're out the door. I've seen it with the elderly, just how much medications they try to pump in them while they're out getting ready to sayonara, sign off on life. It's really sad. Um, but yeah, that's why, you know what? We do the best we can and we leave the rest to God. And it's so important for people to know this because it can get very overwhelming. It can get very scary. You can get overly anxious and anxiety filled and not want to leave your home and fear. Fear can start encroaching and just, oh my gosh. And that's when you have to take a minute and you say, Father, like you said, you're praying before you drink your water. You're having that moment where you're just reflecting, being thankful and just praying for what you have and what He's given you. There's that level of trust we have to have in His design. I mean, praise God, He gave us a liver. He knew we're going to need this liver. We're going to need it to do its best, and we need to support our body in the everyday detoxing. Detoxing is not it's not a trend. They treat detoxing like a trend. We're detoxing all the time. We're detoxing right now while we're sitting here. Our liver's constantly working for us. Not that, but every single body part. Our eyes make things that help us detox. Our mucus, our nose. everything. The body's working together to constantly detox and help us keep us safe and healthy at all times. So we just need to support that and do the best we can, because yeah, it can get really overwhelming very quick.
Well, I know we're creeping up on an hour here, but I mean, good night. I got like a whole list of things I want to ask you, but I do want to get your opinion on this. When I was recently at the Healing for the Ages conference in Dallas, Dr. Brian Artis was on stage and he was talking about this. I don't know what else to call it outside of an epidemic of everybody that's hooked up on this Ozempic. Now, I
Mm,
don't watch TV, but I was staying in, unless I'm
yeah,
in a hotel or something, I'll just put it on long enough until it annoys me, which it does every single time. And every other commercial is about this Ozempic. I had no idea what it was. And they even have a little jingle for it, Ozempic. I don't know, however the thing goes. And he's talking about the
yeah,
fact that not only that, for example, that drug is made out of the venom of a Gila monster, this high blood pressure medicine, all of it is derived from venom from different kinds of snakes and all this other stuff, all these different drugs that are derived from this. What alternative do you have for a person out there? Um, Man, this is a loaded question. It's kind of an unfair question, but I'm going to ask you just the same. So, a person
yeah.
is
Go ahead.
struggling with weight issues, and they feel, "Oh my goodness, the only thing I got left is Ozempic," even though the record,
Oh
I mean,
my,
the number of people with this thing is just with the issues that it's causing
yeah.
is insane.
Oh, so many problems.
Yeah. So, what do you suggest for those people that are either taking it or trying to or realizing, hey, you know what, I got buyer's remorse here. How do they get off this stuff?
Yeah, yeah. Intermittent fasting. It is so good for you. It is so good for you. Whether you're new to it, whether and you don't have to be extreme. I think people think fasting and they automatically think I can't eat, and that sounds horrible and it sounds extreme, but actually start small. Do a 12-12. And a 12-12 is you can eat in a 12-hour period. Now, it doesn't mean you gorge, right? It doesn't mean you go crazy and you eat all the things and you eat no, you eat in that 12-hour period. Like in England, they say eat like a king for breakfast, eat like a queen for lunch, and sip like a pauper for tea. Where you don't eat anything after five. My favorite is 5 to 5. Don't eat after five, and I don't have a breakfast till 5. I like to do a 12-hour intermittent fast every day. Now, there's days where I eat later, no problem. And there's days where I might not go 12 hours, no problem, but it's not every day. Like, I love the 12-12. I like to, ask people to start small with something like that, a 12-12, or you can go, 16, 8, where you go a little bit longer between meals, and then basically, and you can get down to 4-24, where you only have a 4-hour period to eat. And it's not all 3 meals in that 4 hours. It's okay. I'm going to have some salmon and some broccoli and a sweet potato with maybe some coconut oil on that, or maybe some raw butter, or whatever it is that you like. Fat, fiber, protein. Carbohydrate, refined carbohydrate is not an essential. It does not need to be on your plate. It's not essential to your diet, and especially if you're trying to lose weight. Cut out the refined carbohydrates. There's natural carbohydrates in your broccoli. There's natural, that's good. I'm not talking about all the good carbs. I'm talking about the refined carbs, the ones that are not good for us. And then there's the 24-hour fast, if you want to work your way to that. And that's something where you maybe just do bone broths, or you do juices, or you have your salt before your water, or you have some trace minerals, and you do that, and so that's where I say do that. Do your intermittent fasting way over any kind of medicine or drugs never cure. They never cure. They'll never help. They'll never heal. They do not heal. They're designed not to heal. If a drug healed, then they would be out of business. Instead, it just changes the symptoms or the disease throughout the body. So it may mask it. But for example, any kind of steroid, they'll tell you using the steroid cream, when you stop it, it's going to come back with a vengeance, 10 times worse, and stuff and such, certain steroids. So, that's what I would tell someone who's like, okay, I have to take this drug. It's going to help me lose weight. I say, try intermittent fasting. It's a great way. It's easy to do. Do it with a friend. In fact, I have a subscriber page on Facebook, and I do challenges with them once a month. And our challenge in February is fasting 4-day fasting February, where we're just going to do each one of those each day, and I'm going to do that with them. And just help them, challenge them, keep each other accountable, but do it together, but I challenge people to do it, with their family or do it with someone or even just with themselves.
No, I'm right there with you. I started getting really serious about fasting about 3 years ago, and I was looking in the work of Dr. Mindy Peltz, who wrote the book Fast Like a Girl, and looking at a lot of her
Yeah.
work as well, and the autophagy and all these other incredible things that happen. And then there was a
Autophagy,
guy named
yes.
Dr. Jason Fung talked about the fact, I would have never put it this way, but he does make a pretty solid point. He says, the only thing that Confucius, Buddha, and Jesus agreed on was the benefit of fasting. So, I mean,
Mm,
there's only one of those that I call my Lord and Savior, but I mean, the point's
yeah,
made. It's well made.
yeah,
And
yeah,
somewhere along the way, I mean, there was a recent study done talking about how often. I mean, we were not ever accustomed to eat 3 meals a day every single day for all of our lives. That was never the way it was set up.
no,
So I'm glad you brought
no,
that up
yeah,
because throughout all of human history, our bodies were never adapted. I mean, we eat better. Even our most destitute in so many ways eat better than royalty did 150 years ago. They never ate 3 meals a day. That's a Rockefeller
right,
invention. So the whole need. I mean,
yeah,
most people in America prior to the Great Depression, even in the roaring 20s, when things were very, very well, most people ate once or twice a day, and many of them only ate 3 times a week, and they were absolutely incredibly healthy. So, folks,
yeah,
fasting doesn't mean that life gets
yeah.
worse. It doesn't at all.
Yeah, and you're not gonna, it makes me laugh when people say, "Oh, you can't tell someone not to eat or skip a meal." Yes, you can. It's okay. You can fast. I'm very thin, and there's days where I'd be traveling, and all the food choices were absolute garbage, and I'd rather fast. I'd rather
Absolutely.
just drink my water. You're not going to die. You will not, by skipping a meal. You know what I mean? It's not going to hurt you. It's actually very healthy. There's so many wonderful health benefits to skipping a meal or fasting, whether it's spiritual, right? Because there's many reasons to fast. There could be vain reasons, it could be health reasons, it could be spiritual reasons. I'm reading a really great book right now. It's called The Biblio Diet by Jordan Rubin and Dr. Axe. And it has great information for people who are just new to health. And from a biblical standpoint, well, basically what the Bible says about healthy eating and living, it's really good. It's great.
It was honestly discovered that discovery alone in my life was one of the most empowering things that ever happened to me. Growing up in a place where it was, we put the funk and dysfunction in my family. So,
Mm,
I didn't have the best relationship with food for the longest time. But I got to be honest with you, of all the empowerment things that I've ever done in my life, knowing that I could go day and day and day, I can go days without eating a single thing and feel better for it was one of the most empowering things that I've learned over the last 3 years. And like you said, when I find myself in a position where I'm traveling and good luck finding anything you can eat in an airport, I know that from the
yeah.
time I'm there, no matter where I'm going on this planet, it's usually not going to take me 3 days to get there. Um,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
usually not going to find much there outside of the water. That even there, it's not wonderful. But yeah, it's an empowerment thing also because now when you conquer that and you say, wow, man, I don't need that
yeah,
extra meal, or I can go days without eating anything. And I even did a little
yeah,
experiment on my YouTube channel where I wanted to show that I could still do all the farm tasks without eating anything for 3 solid days. Now, some people are going to have to work up to that, but I quit it
yeah,
after 3 days because I thought nobody could do five. But I honestly could have gone much, much longer because I felt like $1 million.
yeah.
I hadn't eaten anything.
Wow,
So
that's really great. Well, yeah, and eating is one of the strongest human urges in the body. And so when you can say no to that and you can discipline that, it's like a whole nother level of um not empowerment, but it's just such a freeing feeling that, there's nothing you can't do. it really feels like you can do anything when you can fast and you can say no to that strongest human urge.
It's definitely a superpower. Well, Jacqueline, I mean, good night. We're definitely going to have you back because, man, I was just starting to hit my stride. I got like 30 questions I got written down here that I haven't
Oh,
even
well, I'll have to
touched.
come back. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll definitely have to come back
Invite
because
me back. I'd love to talk about
you
Bourne.
are hereby invited. And trust me, when you taste this salt,
Okay.
you're gonna be like, I can't wait to come back. So
I
yeah,
can't wait. I will make a little video of me tasting it and you can have that for all your viewers.
well, that'll
We'll
be
tell you what we
wonderful.
think about it over here.
Well, for anybody out there that wants to link up with you, I don't know, are you doing health coaching and stuff like that, or if they
Yeah,
want to,
yeah, sure.
how do they contact
Yep.
you as far as what you're doing there? If they want to,
Um,
be patrons of your
sure.
shop and all that good stuff.
Well, you can always shop in store. We're in Shawnee, Oklahoma, and it's OK, be healthy. That's the letter OK, like the state abbreviation, and then a B, no E, just the letter B, healthy. And we're in Shawnee, Oklahoma, and that's our store. We have a storefront where people can actually come in and shop. And then you can find our website online. Same thing, okbehealthy.com. And you can shop online. We ship all of our products. And you can find my consultation links there. And you can schedule a consultation over Zoom or in person. You can schedule an appointment to come see me. And also Facebook. I have a lot going on my Facebook page. I have a subscriber page. We call our VIPs for our very important pals. That want to subscribe and just want a little bit more of what I'm doing daily, what I'm doing with my kids, little things like, for example, my 18-year-olds just got their very first cell phone because I'm huge on keeping electronics from children. And so they can just find little things like this, things that I believe in, things that we should be doing for our kids. Um, and like I said, we're doing a fasting challenge in February. So I always have challenges and we have book club. We just do a lot of fun things on that page, but you can definitely find me also on the regular OK Be Healthy page, or you can subscribe.
Well, we'll leave all those links down below for anybody.
And
Oh, go ahead.
also your awesome event in October, Sovereign Health Summit. Here we come.
Yeah, you beat me to the punch there, folks. Now, do you see why
Sorry.
I'm telling you she is going to knock it out of the park there, and she's going to be there as well, and she'll be speaking multiple times out there. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm realizing now that some of you had questions. Folks, you got to put these things in capital letters with these blue light blockers. I can't see the questions, so I don't know that. Yeah, I'll tell you what, guys. Save these questions for next time, and if anybody has any specifically, next time we have Jacqueline back on, maybe we can address those. I've kept her far too long, and like I said, y'all, you're gonna have to take a back seat to my questions because I got another 30 here that I didn't even get to. So, man, well, the cool thing is that they kind of know who you are now. I covered a little more, I wanted to make sure they realize, hey, man, and then you know what? When you got your stride here, man, you were really knocking it out of the park, and you're only making me want to ask like 10,000 more questions. So, well, thank you
Oh,
so much.
yeah.
Thank you so much for being on here, and I want to thank everybody that's in the live chat right now. And folks, trust me, we live in I know that I don't have to tell you guys this, but man, we live in a really crazy, toxic world right now. So I'm asking everybody. She is dropping some massive information out there. Please go check her information out. Put this podcast out there to anybody that you think might benefit from it. And also for the ones that are complaining, saying, well, this isn't permaculture. Yeah, I guess. Is it? You really don't think it is? Remember, earth care, people care, and abundance given to the previous two. If you don't have your health, if you're not good for yourself, I mean, what are you good for? I mean, who are you going to be good for? And especially when we have easy tactics that we can take to fight back the efforts of the enemy, folks, you got to take them, because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything else. And I see that every single time I go to one of these conferences where a lot of people are in really bad shape. And I'm not being critical of you. I'm just saying, look, you better get loose or get lost. You know what I'm talking about. So until next time, you know the deal, y'all. This is Pimpcast. Stay alert, stay alive.
Roots that run deep, wisdom from Saul, and permaculture stream. Let the idea unfold. I'm moving with the truth. just who's got the answers? All we need to do, listen to the earth, they got us through. Let's see the change, watch the world spin. From the smallest sprout to harmony begin. In the cycle of life, where the magic's alive. Tune it to the beat, feel the vibe and thrive. True, true, true.